Hey there, Jimmy J's here, and I wanted to shoot a quick video for you to really prepare you and get you ready for the training that we're doing together tomorrow that you're registered for. And on the front of the screen here, it says help, and there's a very good reason for that. It's because there's been lots of people that have been writing me with questions around the training that we're doing tomorrow, and the biggest question that I'm getting is, isn't building a cash flow club going to take too long? So today I'm going to be going through that to help you with it so that when we meet tomorrow, we're going to be able to hit the ground running. So first things first, I know exactly the feeling that you're talking about. I've had times in my business where I was so busy just in building mode that I didn't have time to make new relationships. And instead of doing that, I tried to learn, quick ways just to meet and sign up prospects. And while some of them did get started, I ended up having more no-shows, more drama. Unfortunately, some of them returned their kits, and even more unfortunately, some of them didn't return their kits. And we ended up spending, a bunch of time together, and it was just both of us wasting each other's time. So if you are feeling this way, or if you ever felt this way, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. It's pretty normal to have trouble keeping up with relationships with people who aren't in your business, let alone making new ones. And especially if you've been in the industry for a while and you're consistently showing people your business, and you're always looking for new recruits right now so that you can, hit a rank advancement by the next convention. And most experts will tell you to always be prospecting, which is usually the opposite of what actually works. You don't make meaningful connections and relationships when you're trying to direct every conversation to be about your business. So if you've tried cold prospecting or Facebook stalking people and you've ended up recruiting people with little to no influence or recruiting no one at all, you're not alone. I've been there, and there is a way to fix it, and I'm going to show you how right now. So we're going to talk about how to grow your rank and your income without it taking years or without it taking a long time. But in order to do that, we have to talk about why people join you, what makes them stay, and what makes them win. Because the question isn't just how do you recruit more people, it's how do you recruit people that stay, and how do you recruit people that stay and go on to be top leaders inside of your company? Because if you want true residual income, that only comes through having other people that are leaders that you've taught that can do this with or without you. It doesn't come from a couple sign-up bonuses of people who end up quitting. So here's what it comes down to. So the reason that people join you is basically your relationship with them multiplied by your credibility with them multiplied by their mindset. So those three things together equals the chances that they're going to join you. So relationships are things like the trust that you have together. An emotional bank account is what I would call it. Credibility comes down to just what is your track record, in business or in life, and what is your positioning. And on the webinar, we're going to be talking a ton about positioning because it is the easiest way to build credibility is just to put yourself in the right positioning, in the right light. And as I said earlier, positioning absolutely eats posture for breakfast. And the third one is their mindset. So their mindset about money, their mindset about business, their mindset about the timing of things, all of that has to do with why they join and why they join you. What makes them stay? Well, what makes them stay is their belief multiplied by culture, multiplied by their mindset. So belief could be a belief in a product, it could be belief in a mission, it might be belief in a person or you, and it could be belief in themselves. What makes them stay is culture. So maybe it's a culture of fun or certain people that make the culture, or a culture of growth or of a cause that people are really getting behind. And again, multiplied by their mindset. And what makes them win is your company system multiplied by their network, multiplied by their leadership. So if you have a great system within your company, then that's going to be a multiplier that's going to make everything easier. Their network, so once a new person joins you and they stick around, and now we're talking about what it takes for them to succeed, it has to do with their network. So the relationships that they have, the credibility that they have inside of those relationships, and inside of their network, inside of who they know and their relationships, what's the mindset of those people, right? That will greatly impact, what this person, what rank they hit or how much success they have. And lastly, it's multiplied by their leadership. And as far as I'm concerned, leadership in network marketing is, influencing people to join you, influencing people to stay, and helping them win. And if you can do those three things, you are a leader. So really what makes them win is their leadership, and their ability to help people join, stay, and win, as well as their mindset affects their leadership very much. So the one thing that was on all three of these slides is their mindset, meaning the mindset of your prospect before they start and after they start. So the question of how long is this going to take, the best answer I've ever heard came from a network marketer who's actually in a different company. And what he said was, it's really easy to go to the top of your comp plan. You just have to go from A to B to C. And he said B to C is pretty consistent. B to C is the actual act of doing the work to go from 0 to the top of your comp plan. And that takes 6 to 18 months. Pretty static, pretty consistent, pretty predictable, 6 to 18 months. He said A to B is the process of you becoming the person you need to become to go from B to C. You becoming a leader, you becoming everything that you need to be. And that one's a little bit harder to put a timeline on. And when I heard this, the first thing that happened was I got really serious about developing myself and focusing on who am I becoming, who am I being right now. The second thing it affected, though, was the way I looked at prospecting. And what it really did for me was it impacted me so deeply because it gave me confirmation of an intuition that I've always had around prospecting and why prospecting specifically in a cash flow club gave me such great results. And what it was is that my goal was no longer to get somebody, to meet somebody, to get their phone number and to get their credit card. My goal now was to get them from A to B to C. And my success as a leader wasn't how many people I could get started, it was how many people I could get from A to C. And since we know that B to C is pretty static, the real question is, how can you get people from A to B? And so if you want to know how long does it take, change the question of how long does it take, from the point you meet somebody to the point you get their phone number to the point that they give you their credit card, and change your question to how long does it take me to get them from A to B? And the answer to that question comes down to just two things. Number one is your skill set as a leader of how good you are at growing and developing people and getting their mindset and getting them as a person from A to B. And the second thing that it comes down to is where you meet people along this path. So the people that you recruit, where are they starting? Because every single person that you bring into your business, their personal journey path is going to be at a different place. And if you recruit somebody and their starting point is all the way over here, then you've got a lot of work to do to get them from A to B to C. Whereas if you can recruit somebody over here, now the amount of time that it's going to take and the amount of effort that it's going to take and the amount of frustration that it's going to take for you to help them become successful is significantly less. But on top of that, once you change your question to how do I get people from A to B, now if you take somebody from here to here, before they even get started with you, it's not a waste of time. What it is it's just shortening the journey once they do get started from A to B, and making that process easier. And on top of the fact that, it's going to help that process be faster, when you help somebody, go from here to here before they even get started, what else does it do? Well, we talked about why people join you. When you grow somebody, when you help them before they've even joined you, think about what that does for your relationship. Think about what that does for their trust for you, especially if they were cold market and you didn't know them before. What does that do to your credibility, right? What does that do to their thought of, whether or not you're somebody that can help them? If you're willing to help and grow them before they've even got started, man, that's instant credibility and that's fantastic positioning. And then lastly, obviously, you've moved their mindset, which means that once they do get started, your process with them is going to be so much better. There's going to be so much less drama. They're not going to ask, they're not going to say dumb things to you. And you're not going to be wasting your time. So these are all reasons that you should change that process from thinking about how fast can I get someone started to thinking about how fast can I get them from A to B. Because what's happened is we've been conditioned as network marketers to be looking at this gap, and as a result, we're ignoring this gap. And because of that, we're not getting people started, in cold market specifically. We're not getting people started who are already personally developed. We're getting the people that are falling for these, one-liners or these, all the trainings that are out there that are designed just to help you, meet somebody, get their number, and get them started faster. The people that fall for that stuff, are people that are frankly closer to the A part on their journey. And as a result of it, there's a lot of people out there who have already got started inside of a company. They've already bumped into somebody who's been expertly trained to get their, to meet them, to get their phone number and to get their credit card information. And now your prospects are jaded. And, it's a problem. When I first met my wife, she had trust issues. It wasn't my fault. It happened before I met her. But it was still real, and it was still something that we had to deal with in our relationship, and something that I, had to work hard to overcome. But the flip side of that coin is that her ex-boyfriend left such a low standard that set the bar so low that it was super easy for me to be like an unbelievable hero. So, I remember one time I just changed the light bulb that was burnt out inside of the refrigerator. And for the next 3 months, I was like the king. Her mom loved me, her sisters loved me, and it was just because the bar was previously set so low. And so, I tell you this because your prospects are jaded. They have trust issues. It's not your fault, but you still have to deal with it, and you have to be aware of it. But the flip side of that coin is that it's going to take so little for you to be an absolute hero in their eyes. If you're willing to help somebody grow before they even join your business, if you're willing to help them with zero strings attached, zero obligation, and you just make it your mission to help people go from A to B so that they can live the life that they want, they can become the person they need to become to reach their dreams, you will be totally shocked and amazed at how people treat you, at how much fun that process becomes, and at how many of them line up to join you and are incredibly loyal to you. You'll be absolutely amazed. And on top of that, just the fact alone that you're willing to help somebody before they've even joined you just makes you 1,000,000 times cooler than every other network marketer who's slinging cards at a networking event or sending spam messages to people on Facebook that go to other folders. Okay? So just the fact that you're willing to help somebody with no strings attached just automatically, elevates you and gives you amazing positioning. So if you found this helpful, if you've liked what we've been talking about so far, the direction this is going, you're going to absolutely fall in love with tomorrow's training. We're going to talk about the best way to impact the mindset of your prospects. We're going to talk about how to master positioning so that you can recruit people of influence, so that you can have more people in your downline that hit big ranks, which obviously, impacts and affects your business, your freedom, and your bottom line. And we're going to talk about how to meet new people, how to build relationships, and how to create credibility and authority in a very leveraged way through a cash flow club. And you can do it in less than 3 hours a month. You can actually be moving multiple people from A to B all in 3 hours a month. So make sure you check your email in the morning. I'm going to send out a reminder and a link for you so that you can make sure you jump on the webinar. And listen, I really hope you've enjoyed watching this training as much as I've enjoyed making it for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow on our webinar. I'll talk to you then.